Okay, everybody, let's look at our next lesson. Now, we're going to continue our work with lines and line graphs, and what we're going to do this time is find the equation of a line from a graph. So there are a few ways you can do it. I'm going to show you two today, and it relates to the work we've already done on gradient and the standard form of the equation and what you can do with those things and the intercepts. So everything we've done is interconnected and can be used in either direction, either from the graph or from the equation to create the other one. So let's look at this first one. So finding the equation of a line from the y-intercept and another point is what we've been asked to do. So we've got a graph there. We can clearly see the y-intercept. So we can see that it is this value here. Now in this case, we actually have the x-intercept as well. So we can use that to find our gradient and then write our equation of our line. So the first thing I want to do is just remind you that the standard form of the line, or the general form of the line equation, is y equals mx plus c. You're going to hear that a lot in this year and coming years, so it's a really good thing to learn, y equals mx plus c. So we also need to remember that m is the gradient, and the way we find the gradient is rise over run. Now in this case, we need to figure out how much we've risen from the y-intercept and how much we've run from the y-intercept and put that in here. So if we start here at the y-intercept and we're going up to our x-axis, because we can see our other point actually lies on the x-axis, that will tell us how much we've risen. So we are going in an upwards direction, so that means we have a positive number and we've risen 4, which we can tell because we started at -4 and we've gone to 0. Even though there's no markings on the scale, you should be able to tell that. Now we need to move from that origin and we need to move over to where our x-intercept is lying. So this is our run. So we're going to move in 2 places to the left-hand side, and you need to remember that to the left is negative. So what we've got is 4 over -2, and if we simplify that, that is going to give us the value -2. Now we can see directly on our graph that our y-intercept is the point 0, -4, and if we just write that as the c form in our equation up here, that would become -4. We don't need that 0 point. Once you've got that, you can just substitute that information into the general form of the equation. So to do that, therefore, our line equals y. So instead of m, we write -2 x, and instead of c, we write -4. So in this case, our equation of this line is y equals -2x minus 4. And we can tell our gradient must be negative because it's heading in a downward slope. So that is another way we can check that we're heading in the right direction with that. Okay, so in this case, we don't have a graph, but we've been asked to find the equation of a line from the gradient and a point, and we've been told what the gradient and the points are. So the line has a gradient of 3, and it passes through the point 1, 8. So again, we're going to use that general form that we learnt last lesson, and we're going to work with that. So we are going to substitute our gradient, or m equals to 3, into the equation. What this is going to do is give us a new equation. So that will become y equals 3x plus c. Now, we still have 3 unknowns, and that's a problem. And this is where we're going to use that other point that we were given. So this point gives us an x value and a y value that are on the line. So what we can do is substitute those values, the x and the y, which is the 1 and the 8, into the equation and solve to find c, because that will leave us with 1 unknown. So let's do that. So instead of y, we're going to write 8, and instead of x, we're going to write 1. As you can see, that's left us with 1 unknown, so that's pretty easy to simplify and solve. So 8 equals 3 plus c, 5 equals c, and of course I should rewrite that the other way. And the very last step I should do is actually write my equation. So in this case, y equals 3x plus 5. So you can see we go back to the y and the x. We don't continue with that point that we used. That point was simply to help us find our C point, C intercept. So that is it. So there's some exercises there for you to do. You can see it's actually really simple working with lines if you think about what you've got. If there's a point that falls on the line, it's got to make the line true, so use that. Any questions at all, let me know and I'll see you in class.